Hi guys, welcome to another All Things Tennis Racket review video. Today we're going to be looking at the Prestige model. It's been around for God knows how long, probably 30 years on the tour, and we're going to look at what makes the Prestige special as a racket and the brand new models for 2021. So, what makes the Prestige special? So, Prestiges have this nice elongated shaft here, so it's longer than any other head frame here. It's designed to create a little bit more feel. You've also got the cap grommet, so it's a grommet system that goes all the way down, synonymous with Andy Murray using a radical, but also having this cap grommet system. Okay, it's also a box beam frame. So box beams are used in control rackets, more traditional rackets. You think of like a Pro Staff or a Prestige, synonymous with control. They have this box beam structure, and that enables more control. They're definitely not going to be powerful rackets. They're thin beamed rackets, so also you can see with the caps here, very thin, and that's traditional box beam. There's a new technology in these Prestiges as well called the auxetic technology. This is brand new for head. So graphene as a material is not being used by head anymore. The new technology is this auxetic material. So what does it do? So it's supposed to adapt to a player in the way they hit the ball. The material is quite unique in the way it adapts, it changes its composition to how it's hit. So if you're hitting the ball very hard and it's swinging through nice and fast with your swings, you're going to feel the frame stiffen up on impact. Whereas if you're trying to craft more touch shots with drop shots, etc., a bit more feel, it's going to feel a little bit softer. So when the auxetic technology was described to me by the head rep, it reminded me a little bit of UTech technology they had 10 to 15 years ago in the frames, where it's supposed to adapt to that individual player. And that is really what they're trying to create with the auxetic technology. The Prestige is the first racket in the line from head that will be using it, but it will be used across all ranges. So your speed, gravities, radicals, etc., and also the new boom. It's quite exciting in terms of you've got a racket that really does adapt itself to the way you're hitting. You know, when you're trying to really slap through a winner, you want the frame to feel nice and stiff, and when you're going for that drop shot or little crafty slice, it softens up in the frame. That's something that is very appealing, I think, to me. When I've used the frame, it definitely feels different than the other Prestiges I've used before, but there may be a couple of reasons for that. So the first reason is the Prestige line has changed. So not just the auxetic technology, the names have changed, but also the head sizes and weights have changed. So my Prestige of choice for the Graphene 360 Plus model, the more maroon purple colour, that was Prestige Pro. So that was 315 grams, nice 16-19 open pattern, which I felt was a really nice pattern for a Prestige. It gave you a little bit of extra pop and spin. Now they've changed the model. So we're going to run through what has changed on the Prestige, the new Prestige line. So the Pro model of last year is now probably going to be the Tour model, what they call the Tour. So this is 315 grams, okay, unstrung. You've also got the 16-9 pattern. So what's changed? Well, it's gone down to a 95-inch head, which is interesting. Other brands seem to be going the other way. You know, your Wilson Autograph Pro Staff has gone up to 97. Seemingly, you know, your Bablat's always around 100 square inches. This has gone down to 95, which I think for a purist, a Prestige lover, I think is actually a good move, because that's what Prestige is all about, control and feel, and that really shines in a 95-inch head. So 95-inch now with the Tour. If you're looking for the Pro, maybe used them before, I'd say probably go for the Tour model rather than the Pro model. I know it's confusing, but they've changed all the names in the new line. So yeah, 95-inch, 315 grams, 16-19 pattern. It's a nice feeling racket. Let's have a look at the next Prestige I wanted to show you. So this is the Pro model. So what's changed for the Pro model is that still the 98-inch head, but now it's an 18-20 string pattern and it's 320 grams. So really, for Prestige lovers, this is the same as an old MP. So the 98-inch head, dense string pattern, which gives you a lot of control, maybe not as much power and spin. But this is, yeah, the MP is now really changed to the Pro model. So for those trying to understand head's new range, if you used the Prestige MP before, this is pretty much an exact replica of that, obviously with the new technologies, the auxetic technology. I like this frame. The 18-20 string pattern's not really for me. I prefer a 16-19 pattern with a bit more spin and power, but this 18-20 pattern is perfect for someone who hits a flatter ball, wants to come in and volley, and wants that ultimate control. Okay, and when we said the Prestige model has changed, it really has. This is a complete new model, okay? So it's a 99-inch Prestige, closer to that 100 square inch head, and also it's a 300 gram model. They've never done this before. They had the Prestige S before, which was obviously 305 grams. This is 300 grams and a 99 square inch model. Interesting, for me, Prestiges, I like the move, as we talked about earlier, to 95. It's a controller orientated racket. This racket at 99 square inches definitely does give you more power, but at 300 grams, I would probably liked it to have been a little bit heavier when I was playing with it. Prestiges, because they're so thin in the beam, they're not as stable as a racket with a big beefier frame at the same weight, so think like a Pure Drive, etc. So it's a nice platform racket. So what I mean by that is it gives you a nice base and you can alter it to your own playing characteristics, maybe with a bit of lead tape, adding a leather grip to the handle, maybe silicone in the handle. Yeah, so it's a nice interesting frame. For those that like the Prestige feel, but maybe struggle to generate as much power as they used to, or you're playing in a wet and windy English winter and you're struggling with a dense pattern Prestige or something like that, this is nice in terms of it gives you easy power, but is that what really a Prestige should be doing? For me, not really. Not quite sure where they were going with this model. I think just to make a Prestige easier for anyone, if they like the look and the colour and the feel, it's an easier Prestige to play with. And also, what I mentioned before, a platform racket. You can also edit it in the way of lead tape and leather in terms of making the racket right for you. Okay, so I want to talk about what strings you might use in a Prestige. Okay, so this Pro model that we talked about is an 1820 pattern. For me, you have to be using at least a hybrid in this. Please don't string this tight with full poly. It's going to feel like a plank of wood. Okay, you're going to get no power out of it. It feels nice with the multi in terms of that touch and feel. If you're a crafty player that gets into the net, yeah, string out a full multi. It's not going to give you lots of spin, but it's a really nice feeling racket. It's very smooth and it's always going to feel crisp and controlled with the Prestige. If you're going to hybrid it, yeah, make sure you're stringing, I'd say around 52, 53 is where that's kind of the highest I'd go with the Prestige, especially in this Pro model 1820. If you're going to use full poly, don't be afraid to go into the 40s. If you used this model with, say, a Torbite or Hyper G, or maybe an RPM Blast, if you like that, string it at 45 is going to give you really nice ball pocketing, and for me, you're not losing control. If you're spraying with a Prestige, it's your technique, it's not the racket, it's not the string. Obviously, if you're stringing up the Tour model or the NPL model, the more open string pattern, 1619, you can play, use your own strings that you get on with. They're going to feel relatively okay in that setup. They are more controlled rackets, but you don't need to go definitely for a hybrid. You can use full poly in the more open string patterns. So in conclusion, this new Prestige line is really exciting. They've changed the frames completely in terms of the head sizes. Obviously the weights have changed on some of the models, and the new Zetic technology. I really like the colour scheme as well. You've got this brushed carbon look here, and obviously the deep purpley maroon colour here. It's really nice. It's a very classy looking racket. I think it looks much better in your hand than it does in terms of the marketing material used. And it's exciting in the way that when we've been play testing it, this little Zetic technology, you can really get behind the feeling of being able to soften up the racket on touch shots and then really trying to flatten out and whip through the ball in terms of it feeling a little bit more crisper and stiffer as a frame. It's innovative, it's revolutionary in terms of the materials used. It's nice to have a change up from the graphene materials, which are very popular, but it's always nice to have a frame that's something new to talk about, something different. And really for Prestige users, it's a completely different frame than they've used before. So it'll be like a Marmite situation, that either love it or hate it, but at least it's something different, and that's quite exciting compared, so I'm glad they've done that. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Really appreciate your time. If you liked the video, please give us a like and subscribe to the channel, and comment below what racket you'd like us to review next. Thanks, and have fun playing tennis.